Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I'm Lesti Kaslati Siregar. I would like to present my research entitled The Implementation of Culturally Responsive English Teaching or CRET model for primary school students in Indonesia. The first point that I want to deliver is introduction. Government policy states that English language learning at elementary school level refers to materials in the context of oneself, family, school, and environment in Indonesia. It states from the regulations of Education Ministry in 2022 and 2014. As an elective and local content subject, this lesson does not seem to be running optimally. The material is less relevant, the time allocation is limited, and the assessment is test-oriented. So, this is called the difficult circumstances. Based on that phenomena, this study will conduct a study of learning design that can develop student abilities in learning English. The learning model that is considered appropriate to these needs is the culturally responsive English teaching model, or we can say CRET model. The CRET model is a model developed from the culturally responsive teaching theory by involving life context, experience, learning style, and socio-cultural condition in learning. So this model design is expected to improve elementary school student English communication skill and as a form of implementing English language learning policies as local content. And the applications of CRET model uses the learning topic of traveling to Brastagi. Brastagi is one of the tourist resort in the North Sumatra, and the topic is taught to students in order the student know about how to make the sentence or affirmative sentence form of simple future tense. And then previous studies have shown that there is no learning model that uses the CRET approach in learning English for elementary school students. So therefore, researchers are interested in conducting studies in designing English language learning models using the CRET approach. The research questions of this research are how the implementation of CRET model to the student achievement in English teaching, and the second is what are the impacts of implementing CRET model. The methods of this research investigated how the implementation of CRET model and the impact of using the model. So it is definitely need a deeply exploration on how the implementation and what the impact of using the CRET model. So the qualitative study is needed to this research. And how about the results and also the discussions of this research? So there are two big points of the results and discussions of this research. The first is how the implementations of CRET model and then how the impact of implementing the model. First is the implementation of CRET model. The CRET model design has five principles, namely content integration, student knowledge constructions, translanguaging, cooperative work, and evaluation. And these principles is formed by the theory construction, and this principle has been developed into five learning stages, such as we can see from the pictures: exploration, language understanding, and then language practice, language production, and test and feedback. This is the step of learning, or we can say the syntax of learning or learning syntax. So based on the implementations of CRET model, by implementing the learning syntax from the explorations until the test and feedback, in the exploration step, students were enthusiastic about sharing their experience visiting tourist attractions. They shared stories about the cool weather of Lake Toba, Miki Holiday, and another tourist resorts in North Sumatra. And then in the language understanding, students listen to the teacher's explanation about the meaning of the word will and the use of at the verb time. When explaining the material, the teacher also conducts a question and answer technique to students to measure the extent to which students understand the subject matter that has been explained. The third is language practice. In this step, students discuss questions about travel plans to Brastagi. They show their participation in expressing opinions and determining the most appropriate answer. For its language production, at this stage, students are given envelopes containing colored paper with the names of tourist attractions written on them. Then, students write travel plans to this tourist attraction. And the last step is test and feedback. In this stage, students write predictions of their future using the word will. Then students fill out their self-reflection sheet about the learning that has been passed. How the impact of implementing this model? First, uh, by implementing this model, so students increase their writing skill. They can write sentences using will to describe travel plans and future wishes entitled My Future Prediction. And we can see the student tasks. They write their prediction, their future predictions. They will, I will graduate from school in 2030. I will buy a fine cam. I will win a championship. I will buy a very expensive car, and I will go to Japan and America. Vocabulary use is an indicator of writing skill. Smith's 2020 state that in learning writing, lexis or vocabulary are elements that require more attention than grammatical composition. Second, there is motivation in learning. This is shown by the encouragement to learn and the existence of interesting activities in learning. Based on the results of observation and the result of completing assignments, students have a desire to learn about the use of the word will. Completion of the assignment proves that there is encouragement for students to learn. This encouragement comes from within the student, which is called intrinsic motivation. According to Sarin 2018, intrinsic motivation refers to student feelings of fully participating in learning, spending more time studying, and developing learning motivation. And the third, the development of student cultural awareness. During the process of implementing the CRET model, there was an impact other than increasing learning outcomes and learning motivation, namely cultural awareness. Cultural awareness is formed based on the development of student knowledge about their culture. So in simple future tense learning, the teacher asks who has visited tourist attraction and what their experience was like at this tourist attraction. Stimulating and exploring student prior knowledge is very important for teachers because students need to be prepared so they can be interested and involved in learning. The conclusions of this research are: first, this model is designed as an alternative solution in English teaching as a local content subject. This design model was also conducted because of the obstacles in English language teaching. CRT model has 5 learning steps such as exploration, language understanding, language practice, language production, and the last is task, test, and feedback. So there are three learning impacts obtained, namely improving student writing skill, improve learning motivation, and then develop student cultural awareness. That's all um, the explanations of my research. Thank you for your attention, and Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.